Now, normally I split my training into straight arm strength and bent arm strength. So I wouldn't normally be doing muscle ups, handstand push ups, those sort of things with press handstands or planches, front levers. I would separate them completely. So bent arm on one day, straight arm the next. However, occasionally I like to mix it up, and today's one of those. I'm going to do muscle ups on the rings, and I'm going to do shoulder presses on the P-bars. I'm going to warm up with eccentrics and maybe some partial range, and then go into the full versions. I'll talk about the progressions as I go. This is something that you can do as well. You just have to obviously pick the right exercise that suits your current level. And these types of workouts work really well if you've missed a couple of days training and you just want to make up for that. So let's go in with some eccentrics first. So I have warmed up a bit first. I've warmed up false grip and that. I'm going to come down into the bottom. I have a dip. I'm going to go into a false grip. Hold there for a few seconds. Come all the way down. Turn the hands out and come back out. Now I have to go into like a tuck or an L-sit position just because of the height of the rings here. You could do exactly the same thing. If you're not so conditioned or not so strong, you could go through eccentric with toe assist, or you could separate it completely, do an eccentric chin up, a transition, and an eccentric dip. Okay, into press handstand, exactly the same, eccentric. So I go into a static hold first, show control, come into straddle, roll through the low back, roll through the mid back, and then try and get through without toes touching the floor. Hold the straddle L, show control, and come back out. Now with a superset, you also need to be careful about which one you do first. So you need to think about that. So for me, the muscle up is actually harder than the shoulder press. I'm just less conditioned with the muscle up. I don't do much ring work. So I'm going to start with that one because it's the harder one, and then I'm going to go into the shoulder press afterwards. Now the eccentric felt okay for me, so I'm going to go straight into the full movement, see if I can get one. So starting off with the muscle up. That was a bit grindy through the center, but not too bad. Make sure I get my eccentric again. And then straight into the shoulder. Felt that in the arms, so it'll be interesting to see whether I need a rest with this. Yep, I should have put a little bit more of a rest in. But, ooh, nearly lost balance at the top. I was about to say, because my balance is so good, I can hang out in positions and grind it through. So if your balance is limited on something like that, when you're fatigued from the muscle up first, you're going to find you're probably going to fall out of positions more often. So that's where you might need to regress it. Maybe use wall assist, especially if you're doing a standard press. Shoulder press is a little bit harder to use wall assist, but you could drop down to maybe an easier progression. So you might need to stay with eccentrics for longer because you're supersetting with something else. Now, if you don't have a muscle up yet and you want to do the concentric, we could use toe assist, especially when I've got a setup like this where the rings are pretty low. So I go into my false grip, go into a kneeling position. So here, lean backwards, turn the hands out. So I'm in the arm straight position, still make sure you've got false grip. And then I'm just going to use toe assist to bring the chest to touch through the transition there, push out. Same with the eccentric through. Make sure you're mimicking the pathway of the real thing. Because remember with this one, or any of the movements, when we use assistance from somewhere else, it's actually easy to do something like this and make something where see how I'm coming away from the rings, or even worse, move the rings around as I do it. And it's unrealistic to how the movement's going to look when I'm doing the real thing. So I need to be careful with that. I need to mimic the pathway. So if you just photoshopped my toes out so you couldn't see that I was using the floor, it would still look like the real thing. Exactly the same with the shoulder press or the press handstand. If you can't go up, we could jump up. So I can mimic the pathway. So I could jump up, mimicking the pathway of the press, show control at the top. And then if I have it, do the eccentric, so you might be able to go down eccentric to here, and then you have to do a separate movement for the entry to the straddle L. But I'm still doing a shoulder press version and a muscle up version. I'm just using the toe assist and using the jump with that eccentric, splitting it apart a little bit. You just need to check you get enough volume, so time under tension, enough reps and sets to get a training stimulus. If you're not, you probably shouldn't train like this ongoing. It should just be occasionally. And then you'll be better off doing reps and sets of more of the drills. So I'm going to carry on with more reps of the muscle up and the shoulder press. If you need more help with any of these movements or any other calisthenics or handstand goals, check out my website, www.paultwyman.com.au. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Thumbs up and subscribe will be appreciated. Really helps the channel out. And I'll speak to you in the next one.